Hey everyone, okay, so here is my challenge for the day, and that is this. Recently had a shoot that had 6 Canon C50s and 1 C70, and we had 1 location to do it. So I'm gonna walk over here and let you kind of look at it. Now the key is this: we had 6 cameras. You can see them all here, kind of walk through them here over my shoulder, and we had 1 table right here over my shoulder. Now around that table we had 7 people, and the key is we wanted to make it so that it didn't look like there's any lighting the table. We wanted to look natural. So what I want to do is I want to show you kind of my philosophy and how I went about doing that, and how you, this big thing about this is how you use whatever tools you have in your kit. I'm not being sponsored by anyone. These are all things that I have in my kit anyway. Obviously the C50s are not, we had to rent those, but the lights are all stuff. I want to show you how I approach about doing this so you can just get a nice, good, kind of universal 360 feel around the table. Now, the key to all this, if you look over my shoulder, is going to be this key light was super important. Now, if you look, you'll see, I'll kind of show you, this room is super tall. It just didn't make any sense for us to practically hang anything. It's also very wide, so we didn't have any beams that were wide enough to hang. There's nothing to support, so we had to get a key light above the table in a way that made sense. Now, what I need to do is I need the light key light, and I needed one that was big enough to have a soft source, and that's where this Godox FS400 really came in super handy. You can see, it's an absolutely gigantic light. But what it does is it provides, even on this 6-person type situation, it provides me a really nice spread. Now, one thing you need to notice about this too, notice I didn't point it straight down. I actually have it angled to a degree so that it's giving me a little bit of shape, but still getting enough of a spread to do that. And that's really, if I had to say the good thing about having a light source this big and this long, I can angle it and it still gives me enough spread that it can evenly light everyone. And that really makes a great kind of a classic top-down lighting approach for any kind of tabletop setting. I think it's also important to point out that to have a Godox light put up like this, I had one other piece of equipment. I'm gonna turn around this thing just to show you. And that is, you can see the lights up there. It's light. That's one of the nice things about having a panel light like this. But I did have this impact. It's not a menace arm, but it's essentially an extending arm that we have that we balance out here with a sandbag. We have a heavily weighted stand here. But that gave me enough stretch to get over the table, which we thought was a really important factor to have. So having a panel like this is nice, but you need to be able to stretch it out. So having some kind of arm that will basically be longer than what you get on a normal C-stand is another really important tool to have when you're shooting like this. Now, once I did that, I needed to start filling up other things. Now, one thing I did notice doing this is that I needed a little more fill on the people at the table. So if you look over my shoulder right here, I basically have a classic 600 watt Godox 600 right there. And what I'm doing is I'm just bouncing that up here on the wall. And that's going to go ahead and provide me just a little bit of balance and fill just to make sure everyone's evenly lit and they look at their best. Now, whenever you're in a situation where you're looking at getting a big room like this, it's also very important that you have the background lit in a way that makes perfect sense. I'm going to turn this camera on real quick just so you can see down there. Now, if you look here, the back wall was something that was really important to make sure that we had this approach in a way that fit and built all the way up. And the big thing about that is getting the texture of what we had here. Now, obviously, we're in a room with a lot of windows, so we want to control the light. So the first thing I did is I wanted to have the light bulbs in the lamps, in the basic lamps, fixed the way that I wanted. So what I did is I have some classic Aperture B7Cs there. So we had that completely fine. But the most important thing is, I'll turn this around one more time. If you see that pattern on the wall, you can see it's a white wall there. We wanted to add some texture. And the key to doing that is going to be right up super high. I have an iFootage 400 BNS, and I have a spotlight. And this is one of my all-time favorite tricks for filming in general, is having a spotlight, because it gives you a great texture on a wall. You can see right here over my shoulder how it just adds these little beams of light. This is an enlightening seminar. We wanted it to feel enlightening. So I was able to do this to get some texture. It's subtle. I could soften the focus of it because it is a spotlight. And, I put it so high, it's not touching the people there. I was able to do that just with a basic combo stand. That was a really important factor in making this work. And then really the other thing I thought was important, if you look over my shoulder here, you'll notice there's a plant back over there. And the corner just felt really dead for me back there. And there's a Godox MS60R down there, giving me a little bit of spread of light. And I have one more hidden back here in a plant that I'm just using to provide me with a kicker on my main subject here at the end of the table. But anyway, guys, that's basically all I have to say about that. I mean, the key to this is just letting you know that even if you have a situation where you have like 7 cameras and not a whole lot of lighting equipment, if you just use it and think about it right, you can really get away with a lot of what you need to do. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Leave me notes and comments down below. And yeah, go on there, keep on shooting. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.